Hey there, Brew Crew, and welcome back to another Brew Crew review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Luna Capital. Luna Capital is a 1 to 4 player game that has players taking control of companies setting out to colonize the moon. They'll be drafting cards and tiles to build life support systems, greenhouses, and habitation modules, and trying to build the best city to become the capital of the moon. Let's head down to the table for a quick rules overview, then we'll come back up and I'll let you know what I think. Luna Capital is played over 3 phases, phase A, B, and C, and each phase has 4 rounds. So starting in phase A, round 1, we're going to flip over 4 cards from the construction deck and place them in this row. Then we're going to flip over 1 project tile for each of the 4 cards. Starting with the first player and then going clockwise around the table, players will choose a combination of card and tile. Then they'll choose 1 card from their hand to lay down in front of them. You can have up to 3 rows of cards in front of you, but cards must be placed adjacent to any cards played previously. And on each card is a number in the top corner. And each row must be in ascending numerical order. These cards can't be rotated or used to cover up any previously placed cards. Then you must place the project tile drafted down on any one of your construction cards. There are 6 different types of tiles that generate points in the game, and each one scores a little bit differently. There are 4 types of vital systems: hydrogen collectors, oxygen collectors, and water condensers, as well as greenhouses. For each type, you'll find the largest set of orthogonally adjacent tiles and score points accordingly. Greenhouses can be counted as a set regardless of the type of fruit grown in them. Greenhouses are also going to score points for having sets of all 3 types of fruit represented. There are pear, apple, and lemon, as well as a wild fruit tile, which can be counted as any fruit type. Habitation modules are going to score 2 points for each building of a certain type surrounding it. Residential complexes will score 1 point per building of a certain type anywhere in your settlement. Sales offices will score 2 points for each one in your settlement. And meteors will provide points to whoever has the most of them in their settlement, and they're going to provide a number of points equal to the number of players in the game. In addition to the tiles that provide points, there are several tiles with special abilities as well. When you place one of these Moon Landing Grounds tiles, you can draw 3 construction cards from the deck, choose 1 to keep, and discard the other 2 to the bottom of the deck. You can use the demolition tile to cover any tile or printed building in your settlement and consider it empty for the purposes of placing future tiles. You may occasionally see this symbol on some of the construction cards. This is lunar scaffolding, and only habitation modules, residential complexes, and moon landing grounds can be built over these sites. Tiles may also provide selenite robots or logistics redistribution tokens. Selenite robots can be taken and used in later turns to ignore the number on a construction card for placement purposes. Logistics redistribution tokens can be spent before drafting to swap two project tiles, allowing you for a little bit more control in what you're going to take. Once a player has decided which pairing of construction card and tile they're going to draft, they will place the last delivery marker above that card slot. You can draft from the space that the last delivery token is. However, it will cost you one of your construction cards from your hand in order to do so. So if I wanted to take this pair that just came up, I would need to discard a construction card from my hand in order to take them. Once the first round of a phase is over, play will continue, but now with two project tiles paired with each construction card, then 3 in the third round, and 4 in the fourth round. At the end of the fourth round of a phase, players will be able to place one of their faction tokens on a concession card if they have met its requirements. You can only place your token on a card if there is not already a token on it. However, multiple players can place a token on a concession card in the same phase. Then any remaining tiles are removed from the game, and new project tiles are drawn for the next phase. At the end of Phase C, players will add up their final score. Buildings and meteors will score as described earlier. In addition, points will be added for each completed concession, and each construction card left in a player's hand will be worth 3 points at the end of the game. Once all of these have been tallied, the player with the most points wins. So, that's a high-level overview of how to play Luna Capital. Let's head back up, and I'll let you know what I think. Luna Capital will probably draw some comparisons to Cascadia, because the drafting mechanism used in both of these games is very similar. But aside from that, both games are quite different. If you're not familiar with Cascadia, I'll put a link to my review in the description below. I won't spend a lot of time comparing the two, but I will just say that Cascadia is a much more approachable game, great for all gamers, and especially families or new gamers, while Luna Capital is a more thinky and strategic game, and while it's not a very heavy game, it's probably better suited to a little bit more experienced gamers. As far as the production goes, everything here is pretty decent. The tiles and the cards are all good quality, and the ship used to hold the tiles for the current round is a nice touch. My one complaint here is that the insert that is included to hold the tiles in the box does not have a bottom for it. So it keeps everything fairly organized in the box, but when you take it out to play it, you can't just lift it out of the box to set it on the table. It would have been so much nicer if they had added a bottom to at least the tile storage spaces. It would have made setup and tear down a lot easier, and it seems like such an odd decision to leave that out, especially since the card dispenser included has one. As far as the gameplay goes, I really enjoy this one. I like the whole, if you take this, then you have to take that drafting mechanism. It's such a smooth way to add a challenge to a game. This is spiced up a little bit in this one by the fact that you'll be adding more and more tiles as the rounds go on. Which initially sounds great to be getting more and more tiles until you realize that you have to be taking some tiles that you really don't want, and how are you going to deal with that? There's several ways to make adjustments on the fly, though, if you do find yourself stuck. You can use a demolition tile to open a space back up for building. You can use the selenite robots to let you ignore the card's number. And the logistics redistribution tokens will let you swap the location of 2 of the project tiles before drafting. You won't get a ton of these, so you'll still want to plan carefully, but it does allow you to pivot if necessary. I like the inclusion of the last delivery marker. which makes you discard one of your cards if you take the newest set of cards and tiles. It's not a severe penalty, but it at least makes you think twice about taking them, and it makes the decision just a little bit more difficult if the perfect combination of cards happens to come out for you. The concession cards are easy enough to understand, and the iconography on the cards is pretty straightforward. Most of them are simple enough to achieve, but you have to race to do them before anyone else. There's also a decent variety of these cards in the game, so you'll get plenty of variability from game to game. It's also easy to understand how each of the different types of tiles will score, although the icons on them are pretty small and maybe a little bit hard to read. So, like I said earlier, we enjoyed Luna Capital. Aside from the few minor production issues that I have with it, it's one that we've had a lot of fun with so far. So I give it a BGG score of 7.5, and it's going to be sticking around for a while. All right, everyone, that's Luna Capital. Have you played it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments. And until next time, let's get another round for the table.